Something happened. Something you were never meant to discover. But tonight, the veil is thin. And heaven has chosen to speak. There is a person in your life. A person who holds a piece of your heart. Someone you trust. Someone you would protect. But there is another. Another person who watches from the shadows of their past. This person, they planned something. Not a simple argument. Not a fleeting moment of jealousy. A conspiracy. A deliberate, calculated plot to destroy what you were building. To poison the connection before it could grow. To make sure you would never feel safe in this love. And they almost succeeded. But you're still here. And that is the first sign that not all is as they intended. Perhaps you felt it. A strange distance. An unexplained tension. Moments where the air between you and this person felt heavy with something unspoken. But you couldn't name it. You thought it was your imagination. You thought you were being too sensitive. You weren't. Have you noticed how certain people seem to appear right when things are going well? How a comment here, a rumor there, can suddenly shift everything. That was not by accident. That was by design. There is a hidden truth you have not yet uncovered. A truth that involves the ex of the person you love. This ex. They did not walk away quietly. They did not let go. Instead, they made a plan. A plan so clever, so layered, that even the person you love did not see it coming. They studied you. From a distance. Through mutual friends. Through social media. Through the whispers of others. They learned your fears. Your insecurities. The places where you feel most vulnerable. And they built their strategy around those exact points. Every move was calculated. But there is a twist. A moment they did not foresee. A moment that changed everything. Because while they were plotting against you, something else was happening. Something they never accounted for. Your heart. Your patience. Your quiet strength. Do you know what happens when someone tries to destroy a person who refuses to break? The plan breaks first. And that is exactly what took place. The ex planted seeds of doubt. They sent messages meant to be seen. They orchestrated meetings that looked like coincidences. They whispered things to the person you love, things designed to make you look unstable. Untrustworthy. Unworthy. For a time, it worked. You felt it. That cold distance. That sudden shift in tone. You wondered what you had done wrong. But you had done nothing. The ex had done everything. However, one piece of their puzzle did not fit. One person refused to play along. Someone in their circle, someone they thought was loyal, quietly broke the chain. Not loudly. Not dramatically. But just enough. Just enough for a crack to form in the conspiracy. A crack that began to widen. And now, you are standing at the edge of this truth. But there is more. There is always more. The ex had a final phase. A devastating move meant to happen only if their initial plan worked. But it didn't work. It backfired. And the person you love, they began to see something. A strange pattern. An unusual coincidence. A story that didn't fully add up. They didn't have the full picture yet. But they started to feel the truth in their chest. And that feeling, it pulled them closer to you. Not away. That was not part of the plan. The ex never considered that your love might actually grow stronger under pressure. They thought you would crumble. But you didn't. And now, the conspiracy is collapsing. Piece by piece. Lie by lie. The person you love is beginning to ask their own questions. The ex is starting to panic. Because when a plan backfires, the one who planned it becomes exposed. And the truth, the real truth, is coming to light. But hold on. You are not ready for everything yet. There is still one layer. One hidden piece that will change how you see this entire situation. A detail that the ex never told anyone. A secret motive. You see, this wasn't just about you. This was about something else entirely. Something that happened long before you arrived. Something the person you love never spoke about. And that is the deepest part of the story. The part that will make everything suddenly make sense. But that is for another moment. For now, sit with this. You survived a conspiracy you didn't even know existed. You remained steady when you were being tested. And the one who planned against you is now watching their house of cards fall. You are not the victim they tried to make you. You are the unexpected force that changed the outcome. The truth is still unfolding. And the best part? The person you love, they are beginning to see clearly. Not because you begged them to. Not because you defended yourself. But because the truth has its own gravity. And it always pulls in the right direction. But wait. You haven't heard the final piece yet. The piece that reveals why the ex really did this. And it is not what you think. Another layer remains. And it will shift everything you believe about this story. Stay here. Because the next part is where the whole picture finally turns. And you won't want to miss what happens next. You are still here. That means something. It means your heart is ready for more. The first part of this story was about the plan. The conspiracy. The way someone tried to tear down what you were building. But now, we go deeper. Because the plan was never the full story. The plan was only the surface. The ex. They had a reason. A reason that goes back further than you. Further than the person you love. Further than anyone has ever told you. And when you hear it, you will understand why they fought so hard. Why they were willing to destroy something beautiful just to feel in control. But first, let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how people who are hurting often hurt others? Not because they are evil. But because they are lost. The ex of the person you love, they were lost long before you arrived. They carried something heavy. Something they never healed. Something they never spoke about. And when they saw the person you love finding peace with you, something inside them cracked. Not because they still wanted that person back. Not because they were jealous in the way you think. But because your connection exposed something they could never have. Peace. Healing. The ability to trust again. And that is what they could not accept. So they decided to take it from you. Not because they wanted the person you love. But because they wanted to prove that love always fails. That trust always breaks. That hope is a lie. And they nearly convinced everyone of that. But here is what they did not plan for. Your patience. Your quiet strength. Your refusal to become bitter. They expected you to fight back. To scream. To accuse. To become the very thing they painted you as. But you didn't. And that confused them. Because people like the ex. They know how to handle anger. They know how to handle blame. They know how to handle emotional outbursts. But they do not know how to handle gentleness. They do not know how to handle someone who stays calm when they are being attacked. Someone who refuses to become the enemy they are trying to create. That is when their plan began to crumble. Because when you did not react the way they expected, their lies started to look like lies. The person you love began to notice. The stories didn't match. The accusations didn't feel true. Something was off. And in that moment, the ex felt their control slipping. But wait. There is something else. Something the ex never told anyone. Not even the person you love. It involves a secret they buried. A moment from their past that shaped everything they did. A moment of deep betrayal. Someone hurt them once. Someone they trusted completely. And that wound never healed. So when they saw you trusting the person you love, they could not believe it. They thought you were naive. They thought you would be destroyed the way they were. And in their twisted way. They thought they were protecting you. Protecting you from the pain they still carried. But they were wrong. Because the person you love is not the person who broke them. You are not their past. You are not their pain. And the conspiracy, it was never really about you. It was about them. About the fear they could not face. About the grief they could not name. About a broken heart that never learned how to heal. And now, their plan has backfired in the most beautiful way. Because instead of destroying your love, they actually made it stronger. Do you see it now? Every lie they told forced the person you love to choose the truth. Every attempt to separate you only brought you closer. Every whisper of doubt was answered by your quiet consistency. They wanted to break you. But they only proved how unbreakable you really are. And the person you love, they are not blind to this. They see what happened. They see who stayed steady. And they see who was trying to pull them away. But they don't have the full picture yet. Not yet. Because there is still one piece missing. One final truth that will change how the person you love sees everything. And that truth involves something the ex never expected you to discover. Something they thought was hidden forever. A person. A witness. Someone who was there the night the ex first started planning. Someone who heard every word. Someone who never spoke until now. And that person is about to come forward. Not because they want to hurt the ex. But because they can no longer stay silent. They saw the damage. They saw the manipulation. And they saw you suffer in silence. But that suffering is about to turn into clarity. Because the final piece is coming. And when it arrives, everything will shift. The person you love will finally see the whole story. The ex will have nowhere to hide. And you will finally understand why none of this was ever your fault. But here is the most important part. You are not waiting for justice. You are not waiting for revenge. You are not waiting for anyone to fall. You are waiting for the truth. And the truth is already on its way. So stay present. Stay steady. Do not let the final moments of this story steal your peace. Because what is coming next is not about conflict. It is about resolution. It is about seeing clearly. It is about finally understanding that the love you have built is stronger than any plan ever made against it. The ex may have started this war, but you have already won it. Not by fighting, but by refusing to give up. And now, the final witness is ready to speak. One more truth remains. One more layer to uncover. And it is the one that will set everything free. You are so close now. Do not look away. The moment has arrived. The hidden witness is about to step forward. But before they do, you need to understand who they are. This person is not a stranger. They are not someone from the shadows. They are someone you have seen. Someone you have perhaps even spoken to. Someone who has been watching all along. Not in a harmful way, but in a way that was waiting for the right moment to finally speak. Because they knew. They knew what the ex was planning from the very beginning. And they carried that burden alone. 4 months. Maybe longer. They watched the ex plant seeds of doubt. They heard the whispers. They saw the manipulation. And every single day, they wrestled with what to do. Should they speak up? Should they stay silent? Would anyone believe them? But now, they have decided. And their decision will change everything. You see, this witness has something the ex never expected. Proof. Not just words. Not just memories. Something tangible. A recording. A message. A piece of evidence that cannot be denied. Something the ex thought they had destroyed. But they were wrong. And this witness kept it safe. Kept it hidden. Kept it until the right moment. And that moment is now. Because the ex is about to be exposed in a way they never imagined. But here is where it gets even more interesting. The witness did not come forward out of anger. They did not come forward out of revenge. They came forward because they saw something in you. Something the ex could not see. They saw your grace. They saw your patience. They saw how you continued to love even when love was hard. And that moved them. That inspired them. That gave them the courage to finally break their silence. Because they realized, if someone as gentle as you could be treated this way, then something was deeply wrong. And they could no longer stand by. But wait. There is something else. Something the witness discovered only recently. A detail that even the ex did not know. A piece of the story that goes even deeper. The ex was not working alone. There was someone else. Someone who encouraged them. Someone who fed their anger. Someone who whispered in their ear that this plan was justified. That you deserved what was coming. That the person you love was making a mistake by choosing you. And that person, that second voice, is still out there. Still watching. Still waiting. Still hoping that the plan might somehow succeed. But they are about to be disappointed. Because the witness knows who they are too. And that name is about to come to light. But not yet. Not all at once. Because this story is not just about exposing the guilty. It is about freeing the innocent. And that includes you. Have you noticed how heavy this has all felt? How even though you did nothing wrong, you carried the weight of it. That is what manipulation does. It makes you feel responsible for something that was never your fault. But the truth is about to lift that weight. Because the witness is not just bringing evidence. They are bringing understanding. They are going to explain why the ex really did this. And it has nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with your worth. Nothing to do with the person you love. It has everything to do with the ex's own brokenness. Their own fear. Their own inability to move on. And when you hear that, something inside you will finally let go. The doubt. The self-blame. The quiet voice that whispered maybe you were the problem. That voice is about to be silenced forever. But here is the most powerful part. The person you love will hear this testimony too. And when they do, something will shift in their heart. They will finally understand the full picture. They will see the ex for who they really are. And they will see you for who you really are. Not the person the ex tried to paint. But the person who stayed. The person who believed. The person who loved through the confusion. And that is the real victory. Not revenge. Not punishment. But clarity. And with clarity comes peace. So what happens now? The witness is preparing to speak. The evidence is ready. And the truth is about to pour out like light into a dark room. But there is one more thing. One final piece that will make everything click. A piece the ex has been hiding from everyone. Even the person they trusted most. A secret that explains why they were so desperate to destroy you. It is a secret about themselves. Something they have never faced. And when it comes out, they will have nowhere to run. But this is not about their downfall. This is about your freedom. Because the moment the full truth is revealed, you will finally be free. Free from wondering. Free from questioning. Free from carrying what was never yours to carry. And the person you love, they will be free too. Free from the lies that clouded their judgment. Free from the manipulation they didn't even know was happening. And together, you will both step into a new chapter. One that the ex cannot touch. One that the conspirator cannot reach. One that belongs only to you. But stay close. Because the witness is about to speak. And the words they are about to say, they will echo in your heart forever. Not because they are painful. But because they are true. And the truth always sets you free. One more piece. The final piece. It is coming now. Do not turn away. The witness is ready. They have stepped forward. And now, the words are finally being spoken. But what they are about to reveal. It is not what anyone expected. Not even the person you love. Because the witness is not just bringing evidence against the ex. They are bringing a confession. A confession that the ex themselves made. One night. Late. In a moment of weakness. The ex sat with this witness and poured out their heart. Not the angry heart. Not the plotting heart. The broken heart. The one they never showed anyone. And in that moment, they admitted something they had never told a soul. They admitted that they never stopped loving the person you love. But that is not the shocking part. The shocking part is what they said next. They said, "I don't want them back. I just want them to hurt the way I hurt. I want them to feel what it feels like to lose everything. Because they did that to me." And they walked away like it was nothing. And that is the root of it all. Not love. Not jealousy. Not even revenge. Pain. Pain that had nowhere to go. Pain that turned into poison. Pain that became a plan to destroy. But here is the part that the ex does not know. The witness recorded that conversation. Every word. Every tear. Every moment of honesty. And now. That, I understand now. And that understanding, it brings freedom. But wait. There is more. Because the witness did not stop there. They continued watching. They continued gathering. And they found something else. Something that even the ex does not know they have. A message. A text. A piece of writing that the ex sent to someone else. Someone who was never part of the plan. Someone who was supposed to stay out of it. But that person, they saved the message. And in that message, the ex admitted they were wrong. They admitted that you never deserved any of it. They admitted that the person you love was happier than they had ever seen them. And they admitted that they could not stand it. Because your happiness, it reminded them of everything they lost. And they could not bear that reminder. So they tried to destroy it. But they failed. And now, that message is about to surface. The person you love is about to see it. And when they do, they will finally know. Not just what the ex did, but what the ex truly felt. And that is the final piece. Because once the person you love sees that message, they will no longer wonder. They will no longer doubt. They will no longer question whether the ex was ever telling the truth. They will know. And with that knowing, comes a choice. A choice to move forward. A choice to leave the past behind. A choice to hold you even closer. Because the ex's confession, it proves something beautiful. It proves that your love was strong enough to be threatened. And it survived. It survived every test. Every lie. Every attempt to tear it apart. And it is still standing. Do you see the miracle in that? Do you feel the power of that? Someone tried to take everything from you. And you still have it all. Not because you fought dirty. Not because you manipulated. But because you simply loved. You loved without condition. You loved without suspicion. You loved even when it was hard. And that is why you are still here. That is why your heart is still whole. That is why the person you love is still by your side. Because love that is real, it cannot be destroyed. It can only be tested. And you passed. Not perfectly. Not without pain. But you passed. And now, the final testimony is complete. The recording has been heard. The message has been seen. And the truth has been fully revealed. So what remains? Only this. The ex is now faced with their own reflection. They can no longer hide behind their plan. They can no longer blame you. They can no longer pretend they were the victim. Because the truth is out. And the truth does not bend. But here is the most important thing you need to hear tonight. None of this was ever about you being unworthy. None of this was ever about you being not enough. None of this was ever about you making a mistake. It was always about someone else's pain. Someone else's brokenness. Someone else's inability to let go. And you. You were just the one who showed them how much they still had to heal. You were a mirror. And they could not stand what they saw. But that is not your burden. That is theirs. So now, you can rest. You can breathe. You can finally let go of the weight you never should have carried. Because the story is not about what they did to you. It is about what you survived. And what you survived has made you stronger. Not harder. Not bitter. Just, stronger. And that strength will carry you into the next chapter. A chapter where the X is no longer a shadow. A chapter where the whispers are silent. A chapter where the love you have is finally free. But hold on. There is one final question. One question the witness asked that no one has answered yet. They asked the X. After all this, what do you actually want? And the X. They did not answer. They just walked away. Silent. Empty. Unsure. And that silence, it is the answer. Because they do not know what they want. They only know what they lost. And that is the real tragedy. Not your story. Theirs. Your story is just beginning. And it is beautiful. So go. Rest. Trust. The truth has been told. And you are finally free.